What is up, FGO fans? How's it going? Welcome back to another new servant analysis video. This time we have made it to Summer 7. We knew what was coming in Summer 7, whether it was because of 7th anniversary showing some things and whether it was because of leaks. Either way, a lot of us kind of knew what was coming. We didn't know the ins and outs, the meat and potatoes, the details of it. So before we dive in, get comfortable, get a cup of coffee, get whatever you need. And let's take a look first up at Lady Avalon. So Lady Avalon here, triple arts deck, arts NP, essentially 4 arts cards for which you can play with. That's going to sound familiar compared to someone else. So are her skills. She has 4 hits on her single buster, 3 hits on her triple arts though, and 4 hits on her quick. 5 hits on the extra, that's pretty good. Star Gen is fine, Star Weight is fine. They're not going to matter. They're really not going to matter. I think we all know that. Going on down to her first skill, we do have something that should sound familiar. Card color buff, 3 turns, 30 to 50%. Crit damage up 50 to 100% for 1 turn, and max HP up for 3 turns. If that sounds extremely familiar, well, buckle up. So Lady Avalon is at least inspired heavily by Merlin. We'll find out more in the event and in her profile as we go, but for now, this is just the arts. It's essentially the arts version of Merlin's Buster skill, right? Obviously, that's his 3rd skill. Over here on this 2nd skill, it again should look really familiar if you know Merlin's kit. This is a 10 to 20% attack up for the party, 3 turns. A 20% flat battery for the party. We like that. Always like that. And then overcharge up 1 time over 3 turn for the party. It's a 1 level overcharge. It's not bad. Honestly, you just kind of take Merlin's first skill and add a little bit of spice to it. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Over here on this 3rd skill, it looks a little bit weird, but like once you understand the synergy of this, it makes perfect sense and I love it. So you have a 1-turn invincible for the party. That's fine. We get that. The way to understand the synergy for this next part is to think of the following situation. My enemy is going to NP. I need to survive it. I have an invincible. Would it be better to seal that NP, drain that charge, or block it from coming back faster next time? This is an 8-turn cooldown. If I seal the NP, they're just going to NP next turn, and my invincible's gone. If I decrease their charge, if I take away their charge, depending on how much it is, it may happen next turn or the turn after that anyway, and this is an 8-turn cooldown. However, if I apply this NP charge block of 1 time to them, my invincible is still going to counter their NP unless they have ignore invincible, obviously. But after they NP, a time, not a turn, a time, it is going to block an NP charge of theirs, right? So let's say you're fighting in a challenge quest, some kind of boss fight, whatever. You're preparing for their NP to go off. You use your invincible. This skill is going to protect you for that. The next time that they go to NP, oh, I don't know, maybe like a quick charge NP in Camelot by chance, this is going to block it. It's extremely nifty once you kind of understand the synergy of it. There's also this other half of the skill, which looks really convoluted, but it's essentially Lady Avalon is going to apply a trait to the enemies, and the number of times that gets applied is how much NP battery she gets. Over here on the NP, once again, there's just like a little tweak to synergy that I really do enjoy here. So it's a max HP up for 3 turns for the party. That scales off level. We'll come back to that part. NP per turn on the party for 3 turns. Again, that scales by level. And then stars per turn on herself, 5 to 25. That scales off overcharge. One thing to note on max HP, veteran players will probably understand this already and see the synergy and notice it and like it immediately. It is better in a lot of instances for me to have max HP up rather than a heal. If I have the choice to provide my party with 5,000 HP heal or 5,000 HP up, I personally am always going to take the 5,000 HP up. Why? Because at the end of this 3 turns, it's effectively a 5,000 HP heal anyway. Yes, I've recovered the HP, but even if my HP is maxed out, even if I didn't have any missing HP, I've increased it that much more, right? It's essentially the hero creation skill for Merlin, as we mentioned earlier in her kit, but now it's on the NP. Instead of healing per turn, instead of healing up front, I'm increasing my max HP. It doesn't sound like a big distinction for a lot of times, a lot of instances, a lot of situations. There are times, however, when it is going to be nice to have that flexibility. Maybe someone in your party took a hit or two, but the rest of your party hasn't taken any hits yet. Everyone's going to benefit regardless. Everyone in your party is going to benefit from max HP up. The same is not necessarily true of a heal. Even if it's healing per turn, it's not necessarily going to benefit everyone if their HP gauge is already full. This will increase the amount of your HP gauge. It's nice. It's really nice. One thing to notice, we talked about the level. We said we'd come back to that. Max HP up on the party, 3 turns. That scales off level. That's fine. That's okay. But so does the NP per turn, 5 to 10%. Now, I don't know. I don't work for Lizingle. I don't work for Type Moon or Aniplex. However, it's been pretty clear to me for a little while now on all servers that somebody took the reins and said, hey, we can actually make a lot more money off of this game than what we've been making. This, to me, potentially indicative of that. When we tie max HP up and NP per turn, so 2 different major aspects of this NP to the NP level, rather than overcharge or even just having them be like a flat benefit, that's a little bit surprising to me. Now, this could be, maybe this is a mistranslation or something like that. I kind of doubt it. Atlas Academy does great work. That being said, it just is a little bit, it's something to keep an eye on. It's something to keep an eye on. I try to keep the entire player base in mind when I do these videos, whether they are free to play, whether they are new, whether they're veterans, heavy spenders, light spenders, no spenders at all, right? I try to keep everybody's perspectives in mind as I go through these. And if I am a lower spending player, or even like a newer player, this is a powerful capability, but I'm not really a fan of both aspects of it being locked behind the NP level. Now, that being said, it's not like we're bordering on Genshin constellations here. Like, it's not that much of a difference. The HP up on the party, 3,000 is still very good. 5,000 is great too. Obviously, as in keeping with most other NPs that we've seen, the biggest benefit is from NP1 to NP2. You can honestly, like with a little bit of luck, get NP2 in a reasonable amount of quartz. So it's not a huge issue, but it is something that I'm going to keep an eye on. It's something that I want to keep an eye on. Going on over to the passives, you'll notice one thing. This is insane to me. 20% just there. Here's your 20%. The second append is going to add another 20% to that. Yeah, it still exists. It still exists. She has both. Wow. So, Lady Avalon just has 20% baked into her kit. This is a passive. She just starts the battle with that. Not to mention the 5% from Mixed Blood. The materials, honestly, largely straightforward as well. They're really not too demanding. There are a couple that I will highlight here. But across the board, it's going to be 10 of your silver and your gold mats all the way up until you get to the higher echelons, the 12 and then the 15s. One thing to note, though, you will need 10 scales of fantasy. You will also need 10 eggs. This is for the final ascension, as I said. Going on down here on the skills, you'll need 15 scales and 15 eggs for the final couple of ascension levels outside of the crystallized lore. So obviously, quick math is going to tell you that's 55 eggs. It's right on the cusp. It's not too many. It's not like a game-breaking amount. Overall, it's not that bad. 55 eggs for triple 10. Max Ascend, Lady Avalon. It's not that bad. It's not that bad, right? So I feel like you're getting a pretty proportionate amount of materials here. On the Append skill, these are all really straightforward. In fact, I think they're actually pretty fair. 15 of the ceremonial blades for skill level 8 to 9. Now, you are probably only looking at one of the Appends. If we're being completely honest here, the rest of the materials are pretty reasonable. But when it comes to her, because she has this 20% built in, you can get really greedy. You could just do 10%, or you could go for it and do another 20%. 40% right there. It doesn't take much math to tell you that that's 2 Castoria skills away if you're doing a double Castoria comp from not only a lot of attack up, but instant NP right there. And that doesn't even take into account her 3rd skill. Over here on her Bond CE, the Parasol here, it jives with her kit, but it's not one that you're going to use. It is 15% crit damage up and 10% arts up. That's fine. That's okay. Again, it's just not really something that you're going to look to make use of because it's not better than other things for Lady Avalon. So overall, Lady Avalon, pretty interesting. We knew she was coming, right? For a little bit now, whether you are a believer of the leaks or you just saw 7th anniversary. For those of us who watch Arcade and pay attention to Arcade, it's kind of cool to see Proto Merlin in the game here as Lady Avalon. And I'm very interested to find out from a story perspective why she has this pretender designation. It's probably going to be exactly what we're all thinking, the whole Merlin interplay. And maybe it won't even be like a serious thing, but that's totally fine. Totally fine. I don't know that she brings anything to the game that the game doesn't have already, except for the capability of that third skill. I want to highlight that. I just am such a big fan of that synergy, and I'm not trying to sound hyperbolic here, but it's a very good skill, and I really like the design of it. I applaud the developers for that. Overall, though, she's not a must-roll by any means. If you have Castoria, if you have Tamamo, maybe Lan Ling, maybe Miyu Edelfelt, the drive to get her outside of maybe affinity for her, maybe you like her, the drive to go and get her is probably not going to be as strong as some other servants. We're not dealing with an archetype Earth here who just brings something crazy to the table that we haven't seen yet. She brings a lot of things to the table that others do. She packages it nicely. She synergizes very well, not only within her own kit, but with other servants. And for that, I would say that she is, she's definitely a limited SSR. We've seen some who are not limited SSRs. She's definitely limited SSR. She is worth it if you do choose to go get her to fill a role in your roster, or if you just really like her. Outside of that, though, we're not looking at like a must-roll servant or anything. This isn't like some kind of game-breaking, account-defining servant. She'll be nice to have, especially if you don't have a meta support, but I don't know that I would necessarily put her up on that tier. I don't think she's supposed to be either. I don't think she's supposed to be, and I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. So that is Lady Avalon. Thanks so much for watching. We do have lots and lots of more videos coming out, so hit that subscribe button. There are 7, I think, at least 7 new servants for Summer 7. We have the 2 per banner on the 3 banners this first week. We have the Welfare Valkyries. We might even have more beyond that. I will be doing new servant analysis videos on all of them. So stay tuned. Again, hit the sub button. You will get notified. You'll know the same day that these servants are released whether or not they are going to be worth pursuing for you, especially if you are a free-to-play or a light spender. But even just from a generic gameplay perspective, it'll give you a little bit of a new insight on the servant, and maybe some of my perspectives will bring something to the table that you hadn't thought of. Regardless, I thank you so much for watching. Good luck on your rolls, and have fun with Summer 7. Take care.